right, Robert De Niro. This movie better not be just as bad as Dirty Grandpa. The Comedian, directed by Taylor Hackford, starring Robert De Niro as Jackie Burke. This movie is a small independent film about an aging comedian named Jackie Burke who had a TV show when he was young, I guess back in the 80s or some time ago, called Eddie's Comes Home or Eddie's Home. He played a police officer that was very offensive, I guess a little bit like a Archie Bunker kind of like character. And once the TV show gets canceled after a while, he goes into stand-up comedy to keep his career going. Now he's in his 60s. He gets himself into some trouble at his latest comedy show with one of the audience members. And because of this trouble he gets into, he has to do community service. The government forces him to do community service because he got in trouble with one of the audience members who was heckling him. He decides to work at a homeless shelter, volunteer there, and this is where he meets Leslie Mann's character, Harmony. They end up falling in love, even though she's 20 years younger than him. He's basically old enough to be her father. And we get to see some actors that were very legendary at the time, all old now. Harvey Keitel shows up in this movie, Danny DeVito. Billy Crystal has a cameo in this film. Charles Grodin is in this for a short time. Even one actor I haven't seen in a long time from the TV show Good Times, Jimmy Walker, who had a catchphrase in that show, Dynamite! He shows up in this movie. I was like, oh wow, it's cool seeing him in this movie. And I think the coolest thing was seeing Danny DeVito and DeVito's own daughter, Lucy DeVito, in this film. That was pretty cool seeing Lucy DeVito. I never knew Danny DeVito had a daughter, and seeing her, she was actually pretty talented in this movie. I thought she was pretty good in this film. Now, Robert De Niro is very funny, and he is funny in this movie. I thought the jokes were pretty good, even though it's very much shock jock humor, and some of the jokes were almost as raunchy as the comedy in Dirty Grandpa, but this movie is not bad like Dirty Grandpa was. Dirty Grandpa, I wanted to walk out of that movie before the movie was done. And in this movie, I was able to tolerate the raunchy humor in it because it really just wasn't that bad. There is chemistry between Robert De Niro and Leslie Mann, but still it is awkward seeing a 68-year-old guy falling for a woman in her 40s, since clearly too old for her. And then again, I guess beggars can't be choosers. It was cool seeing all these great actors like Harvey Keitel and Danny DeVito in this movie. You know, they all do pretty well in this film. I especially like seeing Danny DeVito and his daughter Lucy in this, so that was pretty cool. But overall, it's a pretty forgettable movie. It's not all that memorable. I don't think I'm going to really remember it after the end of this month. So I'm going to give this movie a C. I think it's pretty much just a rental. And that's all I got to say for The Comedian.